Children, welcome to SR Concepts. I am Ravi Verma, and in this video I am going to start the chapter number 6 from your NCERT textbook. The title of the chapter is Tissues. So dear students, in the previous videos we have discussed in the previous chapter that the bodies of every organism are made up of either one or more cells, and in multicellular organisms the cells make groups and perform a particular function. So different groups of cells perform different functions. Such groups of cells are called tissues. So in this video, in this chapter, what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss about the basic concept of tissues. What are tissues? What is the reason for existence of tissues? What is the utility of tissues? And what are the different types of tissues found in plants and animal bodies? Alright, so let us start the first and the most important concept. What are tissues? So dear students, as you know that a multicellular organism starts its life with a single cell if being produced by sexual reproduction. You know, this first cell is called zygote after sexual reproduction. Now the zygote divides, makes two new cells, and then the new cells, which are called daughter cells, again divide to make new cells. In this way you see that after every cell division cycle the number of cells increases and the organism becomes multicellular with millions of cells. Now if all these cells perform all the functions, and if all these cells of a multicellular organism have same structure and perform all the functions like respiration, circulation, excretion, right, then that will be a big burden on every cell and none of the function will be done properly. This is exactly like suppose in your school, whenever an annual function is being organized or any other function is being organized, you see that different works have been given to different students and to different teachers also. That every teacher bears a responsibility of doing a particular function. In the same way, every student has a responsibility of doing a particular function. Not every function has to be done by everyone. So this we call the division of labor, when we divide the work among ourselves. So this is exactly what happens in multicellular organisms. If all cells have to perform every function for the body, then that will be a big burden and the function will not be done efficiently. But what happens that multiple cells which are formed, right, among these multiple cells, every cell become specialized to perform, or groups of cells become specialized to perform particular functions. Means the functions or the work have been divided among different groups of cells, right? So there are certain groups of cells which bear responsibility of certain functions. So there are different groups which have been given different functions. So these different groups of cells with different functions are called tissues. So we can define a tissue like a group of cells together performing a particular function. But there are a few things about the tissue that you have to memorize, that you have to understand. That in a tissue, all the cells of a tissue have a common origin, means they have a same origin, means they are originating from one or the cluster of cells after the multiple division of the cluster of cells. For example, if we talk about blood, then blood contains three types of cells: white blood cells, which are called WBCs, red blood cells, which are called RBCs, and the third is platelets. So WBCs, RBCs, and platelets. Now blood is called a tissue, that is a fluid connective tissue. Why? You see that WBCs are different in structure, RBCs are different, and platelets are also different in structures. And they too perform different functions, but yet their group is called a single tissue. Why? Because these all cells originate from the same type of cells or same precursor, or we can say same ancestor cells or mother cells. So that's why their origin is same. These all cells originate from the cells of bone marrow. These all cells, WBC, RBC, platelets, they all are made by the cell division of the cells present in bone marrow. That is a tissue inside the bone, right? So this is why they have same origin or common origin. That's why the group of WBCs, RBCs and platelets which is present in blood is called a tissue, because they have same origin. However, they have different structures and they individually perform different functions, but together they perform a particular function, and the function of blood tissue is to distribute the materials, right, to circulate the materials and to provide immunity to the body. In the same way, if we talk about a muscle tissue, again, if you want to understand the concept of a tissue, if we talk about a muscle tissue, then all the cells of a muscle tissue originate from the same origin, same type of cell, right? And they together perform a particular function. However, they also have a same structure, right? So a tissue may be defined as the group of cell having common origin, and they may have same structure and same function also, but together they perform a particular function. They may have different functions also. The cells may have different functions individually, but together they conduct a big function. Okay, now, so this is the utility. If someone asks you what is the utility of having tissues in a multicellular organism, then we can say, if every cell has to perform all the functions for the body, then that function will not be efficiently done. In order to increase the efficiency of a function, there are groups inside the body, groups of the cells inside the body, and a particular group of cell is being given a particular responsibility, a particular function, so that the function is done more efficiently. This is called division of labor, and this is the utility of a tissue, that the function is being more efficiently if there are tissues in the body of a multicellular organisms. Alright, for example, xylem has been given the function of transport of water plus minerals, but phloem conducts food, organic food material. So now the functions have been divided among xylem and phloem, so that's why they are doing it well. Okay, next, are plants and animals made of same types of tissues? So dear students, the bodies of plants and animals have different types of tissues because of different lifestyle. Plants are static, but animals move in search of food, in search of shelter, in search of mating. They have to protect themselves, they have to escape from predators also. So they are more active. Animals are more active, they are moving, they show locomotion. So because of this, you see that there are particular tissues known as muscles, right, and nervous tissue, which help them coordinate their movements. So muscles and nervous tissue are found in animal tissues, animal bodies, but not in plant bodies. So there is one difference in plants and animals, that plants do not move, so they do not have muscles and brain and muscles and nervous system. But animals have muscles and nervous system because they are actively moving. Okay. Another difference is that most of the tissues in a plant, if we talk about a plant, if we talk about a plant and we talk about animal, then most of the tissues in a plant body are dead. But in animals, this is not the case. Most of the tissues are living. In the same way, if we talk about cell division, then in a plant body, the tissues which are undergoing cell division or in which growth is taking place, such tissues are found in certain locations. In certain locations, in few and certain locations, the cell division takes place, right? Such tissues are called meristematic tissues in plants. But cell division takes place in a general way in many locations in an animal body, right? So the tissues capable of cell division are not located in certain places, but almost everywhere there are cells which can undergo cell division in an animal body. All right. Another thing is that in a plant cell the growth is unlimited, means they keep growing throughout their life. They may increase the length of their branches, they may increase the length of their trunk even at a very older age. But in animals you see that the increase in length, right, or we can say the growth is stopped after a certain period of time. For example, in human beings the growth generally stops at about 18 to 20 years, right? Generally at 18 years the growth stops. However, the cells may divide, the cells may undergo cell division for filling of wounds and for replacing the old cells. But the growth does not take place after 18 years of age in human beings and after a particular certain period of time in every animal. So this is the difference between the tissues of plants and the tissues of animals. So if we conclude, right, what is the difference, then plants have a static lifestyle, so they don't have nervous tissue and muscle tissue. Animals have nervous tissue and uh, muscle tissue. In plants most of the tissues are dead, means there is a larger portion having dead tissues, but in animal body this is not the case. In the same way, in plants actively growing tissues are present in certain locations, but in animals this is not the case. Actively growing tissues are present everywhere. All right. And there is another difference, that plants show an unlimited growth, but in animals the growth is limited to a certain age or certain time. Now once we have discussed what is tissue, what is the importance of tissue, right, and what is the difference between the tissues of a plant body and the tissues of an animal body, now let's discuss about the actively dividing tissues known as meristematic tissues in plant tissues. Okay, so dear students, as we have discussed that in a plant body actively dividing tissues or the tissues having capability of cell division are located in certain locations, in certain regions only. Here you can see in this diagram that actively dividing cells or actively dividing or tissues capable of cell division are located in certain locations. For example, they are present in apex of the shoot and also the apex or the tip of the root. So such a tissue, such a meristematic tissue will be called apical meristem. You know meristem का मतलब है, meristem means the cells having capacity to divide or which are actively dividing. So such tissues are called meristems, and if they are present in apical location, that is top or tip of the shoot and root, then it will be called apical meristem. Now the cell division in apical meristem leads to increase in height of the plant part. So apical meristem is responsible for the increase in height of the plant. Now if we talk about another location where the meristem is found, then that is intercalary. So this is the location, this is the intercalary location, this is the intercalary location. Intercalary means in between the different tissues. So this location is generally on nodes. Node is that portion where a leaf originates. Here you can see at the bottom of the leaf also there is a meristem. So these meristem which are found in intercalary locations, generally on nodes and on the basis of the leaves, these meristems are called intercalary meristems. They are found on internodes and they are found on the basis of leaves. These are the locations where intercalary meristem is found. And the cell division in intercalary meristem also leads to the increase in height of the plant parts. Now another type of meristem known as lateral meristem. This lateral meristem makes a cylinder like this, something like this. This is a rounded cylinder, right? And this is present in lateral locations. That's why this is called lateral meristem. Now cell division in this lateral meristem leads to increase in diameter of the plant, increase in diameter of the plant or girth of the plant. So initially what happens when a plant is in growing phase, right? So first it grows in height, its stem is still very thin, right? And after a certain period of time it starts growing in its girth, right? Known as secondary growth. So girth, increase in diameter or thickness of the plant parts is because of lateral meristem. So once we have discussed about meristem, right? Once we have discussed about meristems, let us discuss about the properties of meristematic tissue. Look here, the properties or the structure of the meristematic tissue is something like that. Cells of meristematic tissues are very active, as they are very young, and they are very active means they are actively producing the new materials because they are dividing. So when they are dividing, they have to make new nucleus, new cytoplasm, so they are producing new things. So that's why they are active, and they have dense cytoplasm, and they have thin cellulose walls because they, when they originate, they immediately divide once again. So that's why their cell walls are not thick, and they have a very prominent type of nucleus, means nucleus is very clear. They lack vacuoles. Now can you think why they would lack vacuoles? This is the question. Why there are no vacuoles in meristematic tissue? This is the what is the reason? Probable reason may be that because they are actively dividing, they need not to store any material. All right, they are immediately producing and then using those materials, so they need not to store the materials. That's why they don't have vacuoles. Okay, next let's come to the topic permanent tissue. So dear students, we will discuss about permanent tissues in the next video. Already the video has been so long, right? So in the next video we will discuss about the permanent tissues. Till in this video you have to cover the topics, you have to learn, grab it properly. What is the tissue, what is the purpose of tissue, what is the utility of tissue, what is the difference between plant tissues and animal tissues, means how the bodies are different when we consider the tissues, the type of tissues, and what are meristematic tissues, right? So thank you for watching the video. Prepare your notes on the topics. God bless you all.